Remember, Becky, who you really are. Remember who you really are. Remember who you really are. Remember who you really are. Remember, Rachel, who you really are. Remember who you really are. Remember, Jane, who you really are. We remember that we are the men and the women of our time. It is our mission to share the love that dwells deep within the heart of the divine through the power of our verse and the wisdom of our life. Welcome to the Owl's Odyssey, a journey into joy and ecstasy. We will fly into a multitude of love-imbued, magical realms of wisdomry. We will wander through a multitude of wonderful worlds of fantasy. Welcome to the Owl's Odyssey, a journey into joy and ecstasy. Part 1, we will encounter an Arctic owl known as the Snowy White. Through her beauty, she will initiate us into her love and her light. Her wisdom prepares us to navigate this global dark night. We thank you to the Snowy White.
Owl is alive. Owl is alive. Owl is alive. With love, with hope, with joy, with peace. Owl is alive.
The owl is alive, right here, right now, at the beautiful bridge between the worlds. You have entered into an owl sanctuary at this beautiful retreat center that is stewarded by the beautiful Margareta McIlvaine. This place is a home to healing owls, to supportive owls, to the many wonderful different species of owls that welcome each and every person here with wide open wings. They welcome us with their wide open wings. We bow before them. Their praises we sing. Welcome. Welcome, Screech Owl, and all wisdom owls of the East. We recognize you. We recognize you by your sound that is unique. You provide us with that audible peace. Welcome, Screech Owl, and all wisdom owls of the East. In the spirit of sacred reciprocity, feel us now as we feel you. Thank you, and welcome. Welcome, Fine Owl. and all wisdom owls of the south. We recognize you by your heart-shaped face. For what of this is we and your grace. Welcome, Sun Owl. In the spirit of sacred reciprocity, love us now as we love you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, great horned owl, and all wisdom owls of the West. We recognize you by the cups on your head. The depth of your knowledge surpasses all that is unspoken, spoken, and that which is unsaid. In the spirit of sacred reciprocity, teach us now as we teach you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, snowy white owl of the north. We recognize you by your fiercely yellow eyes. One, the sunset, and the other, the sunrise. In the spirit of sacred reciprocity, transform us now as we transform you. Thank you, snowy white owl and all wisdom owls of the north. Welcome, great spirit, cosmic Christ, creator of us all. Connect us to our crystalline core. Merge with us now as we merge with you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, Earth Mother, Gaia, Divine Mother of Pearl. Pulse into us your planetary presence. Blend with us now as we blend with you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, element of earth, you who represent our bodies. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, element of water. Activate our blood as we activate you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, element of air. You represent our breath. Activate us now as we activate you. Thank you and welcome. Welcome, element of fire. You represent our spirit. Activate us now as we activate you.
Water of love, air of breath and fire of spirit. Earth of body, water of blood, air of breath and fire of spirit.
I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here tonight. And I'd like to let you know that you're in the greatest of company with all the elements and the directions and all the owls and one another. But there are three ancestors who have traveled here. They're invisible, from ancient Greece. And they are the wisdom goddesses, the great golden wisdom goddesses of antiquity. We'd like to welcome Sophia, you who are the mother of us all. You are the deep, dark, galactic void. You are the cosmic womb to whom we must all return. We welcome your daughter Athena, wisdom goddess, warrior goddess, you who are an owl keeper and a kindness teacher. Protect us now, please, as we enter into this great global dark night. We ask for your protection. We ask for your ability to strategize. And we especially acknowledge your beloved companion, the little owl. In ancient Greece, the little owls ran rampant throughout the country. And in mythology, it was known that the little owl perched upon your left shoulder because, like all of us, you had a blind side. And her wisdom, her profound wisdom and ability to see and to hear things that humans cannot, guided you in the most challenging of times in ancient Greece. We'd like to welcome you, Athena and the little owl, and of course, Sophia, the divine mother of all. Hail, owl goddess.
Hail, owl goddess, loving goddess, for the good of all. Blessed be. Hail, owl goddess, loving goddess.
Today is for the good of all. I am Christine. I am story dancer. I spin a tale that will unveil the mystery of the owl's Odyssey, a journey into joy and ecstasy.
I am Joy. I am song creatress. Who are you?
Now I know that there are some better hooters in this audience, so please feel free to hoot with us, because we're sort of raspy old owls with a rough hooting voice. So at any moment, please feel free to join in, because we are, all of us here today, Rise Up Productions. And like a fledgling owl on our solo first flight, we yearn to soar to our loftiest heights. We welcome you aboard the owl's wings to hear her song and the story she sings. It is a tale about our journey to a place that is so close and yet so far. It lives inside our hearts and dwells deep within a distant star. It reminds us to remember who we really are, an ancient owl's avatar. We were born from both below and above. We are owl, O-W-L, owl, one who loves. You will wake up to your true identity as you embark upon the owl's Odyssey. We are Rise Up Productions. Come on, Hooters. Woo-hoo!
Children of the earth, can you hear her singing through the children of the great mother and father?
We are living in the time of the Great Awakening. It is a time of both great promise and great peril. It is absolutely imperative that we wake up fully from the deepest dream sleep that we have ever been in for the millions of years that our species has been in existence. We cannot wake up unless we are fully asleep. And we could say that we have been asleep to the truth of who we really are, or we could say that we have been dreaming a new reality for the very first time. I believe that is our mission as Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, sapien actually means wise in Greek. That we are re-embracing our origins, that we are welcoming our ancestors, that we are bringing forth a whole new way of being on planet Earth. We are relinquishing our love of power, and we are replacing it with the power of love. Who in this room is on board with this? Just hoot if you could. We are relinquishing our love of power for the power of love. Yes. As wise beings, there are many spiritual teachers among us who actually believe that we are really physically evolving. That we are evolving into something called Homo divinus and Homo luminous. One to the right and the other to the left, and in the center, it is informing who we are as wise beings, as Homo sapiens. But one other intrinsic factor to this, which you got a glimmer of early on, is the fact that, well, I'll just tell you the story. A friend of mine was in a cafe in Chicago, and she met the proprietor of the cafe, and he introduced himself as Owl. And she said, why do you call yourself Owl? And he said, because I am one who loves. And so, I am a huge anthropomorphizer, but I do have to say that I do believe that this acronym is very fitting for our time. And not only do I believe that we are Owl, that we are one who loves, that individually we are one who loves, but that as a community, we are the ones who love. And with that, we become one with love. So I'd like us to pledge our allegiance to the Owl. We are in union, and we are one. In a moment, in just a moment, I will ask each and every one of you to acknowledge that truth by gazing into one another's eyes, silently nodding, and saying, I see the Owl in you. I see that you are one who loves. I see the Owl in you. I think for some of us, it's a lot easier to see another's beauty, to see another's goodness, than to actually allow ourselves to be seen. So I'd like to invite you to...
I'll let you see me as I am. I'll let you see me as I am. I'll let you see me as I am.
So take a moment, be fully open, and acknowledge that you are Owl.
She goes by many names, she does, and the one that she most dearly loves will send chills up your spine and go right through you. Her name is Owl, she was one who loves, she flies with eagles and doves. Her ecstatic joy will flow right through you. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Maggie and I have been having a great time through this whole creation of this show with owl puns. This audience was offended by the fact that we took such a holy song and changed it, to
something other.
And I hope that you will take it with a grain of salt, because there will be many more. And owl puns, as a matter of fact, I have really loved being an owl ambassador. I love, owls, and I love advocating for them, and I just love, but I have to say that, as you can tell by all the altars here, which, by the way, took me forever to create, I have become quite owl obsessed. As a matter of fact, I bordered on being an owlaholic. And there are many people that have suggested that I go to Owlaholics Anonymous. And, I try that out, but, I sort of know the format of those anonymous programs, and I knew that they would just really want me to turn my life over to a God of my understanding, a higher power, and of course for me, that was the great golden owl. I mean, there's no other choice for me. She's right over there on that altar with her little golden child. Anyway, so, once I did that, once I surrendered to the great golden owl, I actually became very elevated. I was like in this alchemical process of transformation. I mean, there's nothing better on earth than to be in the embrace of an owl-encompassing love. So I guess you're all wondering now, this far into it, how did this ever happen? How did this event ever come into being? And I will tell you that it's all because of her, a sighting I had of a snowy white owl in 2007. And you will hear that story in a moment. But in 2020, I began writing a series of prayers, and then suddenly, I don't know what happened, and you can tell by now the quality of her altar, she just inserted herself into my prayers. And I really didn't quite understand why, except, in Native American traditions, the owls are a portender of death. They're actually a bad omen. And then in other indigenous cultures, they're a good omen. They're wise, they show us the way, they have deep knowledge that they want to share with us. But I was a little shaky about her coming back to me some 15 years later. And I thought, whoa, I wonder what this is all about. But I'm going to go with it because, I have a very demanding muse. I went with it, and then sure enough, shortly after that, COVID-19 came upon the scene. And there were, as you know, many deaths, and then things kept unraveling, wars and shootings and racial disparities and on and on and on and on and on. And the whole story of what we've been living through for the past 2.5 years and the toll that it has taken on every single one of us. And I would like to take this opportunity and this moment now to just honor the struggle that we have been in for all this time and the grief that each one of us has felt, the fear, the grief, the sadness. Because without all of that, we couldn't take this journey into joy and ecstasy. Grief and sadness are the flip side of the coin of joy and ecstasy. But we are here today to celebrate that we are on a trajectory on the Owl's Odyssey into Joy and Ecstasy, and I would like us to now just take a moment of silence to be in that beautiful silence of love.
The silence of love, you pierce me through and through. In the silence of love, you show me I am you. In the silence of love, I know you are the silence of love.
In the silence and in the solitude, in the subtle and in the sublime, on the sparkling snowflakes lightly falling, mist-filled mystical morning in time, I felt the presence of the divine. Through my flaring nostrils tingling with anticipation, I inhaled one very deep, long, and sensual breath. Such was the nature of this suspended in space, eternal and auspicious moment in time. I breathed in the bountiful and the benevolent beauty that had presented itself to me on this misty mountain morn. And then, when this deeply held breath signaled to me, I let go, and very slow, through my slightly parted and softly smiling lips, exhaling a deep, audible sigh of gratitude for this precious life that was mine. Thank you. Suddenly, as the dawn broke, casting its transparent rays of early morning rising sun into the winter wonderland forest within which I lived, I felt blessed by life and lucky to inhabit this highly elevated mountain cabin where I had peacefully lived for quite some time. But in all these years, never had I caught a glimpse of a white winged tip from the corner of my left eye. I gasped with both surprise and delight as I watched her slowly and silently glide directly towards me. Her wings were fully extended, and then, as if on cue, she gracefully folded them and began her descent, landing on a branch that during the night had received a very light dusting of snow. Shimmering white glitter surrounded her as the branch bent under the weight of her powerful talons. In utter awe, I realized that I was standing face to face, heart to heart, in front of a glass door that extended ceiling to floor with a rarely sighted, snowy, white owl. Despite the seemingly invisible barrier, there was no separation between us. As we both stood there transfixed, gazing deeply into one another's eyes, her piercing yellow eyes were hypnotic as they penetrated my soul. Her immanent yet transcendent nature shined through them, showing me the magnificence of her true self as well as magnifying mine. It was truly a pivotal point in time. We stood there for what seemed to be an eternity. I felt as though I were face to face with my destiny. And yet, when I felt the need to ask her exactly what that was, she ruffled her feathers and rotated her head, lowering her beak as if to say goodbye. She lifted off the snow-laden branch of a single tree firmly rooted in the sacred soil of the Virginia Blue Ridge Mountains. As I watched her rise high, through the tree and the mountain tops, I knew in that moment that this encounter with an Arctic owl known as a snowy white had in fact, through her beauty, initiated me into her love and her light. Her wisdom would show me how to navigate the darkest of nights, and less than a month later, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, and black bears had broken into my cabin. Reluctantly and with much dismay, I was forced to leave my precious home. Years later, while contemplating the unusual encounter I'd had with the breathtakingly beautiful snowy white owl and pondering her still mysterious message to me, I recalled a quote by John O'Donohue, the Celtic Christian scholar and mystic and author whom I greatly admired. He said, "Beauty is the invisible embrace of the love of the divine. Beauty is the invisible embrace of the love of the divine." I knew in that instant that my life would be dedicated to what many ancient and indigenous peoples called the beauty way.
Beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty to my left, beauty to my right, beauty above me, beauty below me, beauty within me, beauty all around me.
And so it is. Aho, Ashe, Amen. Matakwe Asen, all our relations, and so we are one with the beauty of the snowy white owl and the love of the source of our being, the supreme I am. We are truly at a crossroads. Every one of us knows this. We can either go into total extinction on one hand, or we can rejuvenate our cells and our body on the other. We can choose to go to the left or the right. I don't know what side you're on, but I know what side I'm on. Or we can just simply descend into like a horrible hell, or we can rise to the heavens. But my suggestion is that we try to land in the center of this ancient Celtic cross. And this is the place where all opposites unite. This is where the good and the bad, the light and the dark, the sadness and the joy, in our hearts, this is where it all lives. This is the center point of the crossroads. But the most important thing that occurs in this center point is that when we have fully accessed our divine feminine and our divine masculine, a beautiful event can occur, which is called the Hieros Gamos. And it is the inner marriage of both the masculine and the feminine. And then in a way, we do become sort of androgynous, but we are able to act fully from that place of deep union and deep love. In the name of the Father, and of the Mother, and of the Daughter, and of the Son. Hail the Holy Spirit! the divine peace dove, and the holy soul, the owl of love. We are in union and we are one in service only to the beauty of thy womb's will be done. The time has come. The time has come. The time has come for us to affirm and to confirm that we are surrounded by and surrendered to, supported by and in service to, summoned by and the summation of the great golden owl's luminous light and God's glorious love. Only that which is unconditionally kind, compassionate, and caring can approach us, for we are an ever-evolving offspring and a forever unfolding aspect of the original evolutionary impulse. The great golden Greek goddesses of antiquity, Athena, with her companion owl, and Sophia with her cosmic consort, the crystalline Christ, create a container where deep repair and reparation can occur. Here, we alchemize our shadows and we catalyze our sovereign selves. The power of Sophia and Athena's pearlized pink light of peace, paired with the glory of the golden owl's wisdom teachings and the cosmic Christ crystallized white light of truth, penetrates our essence, purifies our auras, and permeates every cell of our being. They guide us towards our quantum healing, our wholeness, and an expanded state of elevated well-being. They guard our bodies and our minds, our hearts and our souls, our thoughts and our very vulnerable, tender, and sensitive feelings. They support every step that we take to fully transform, transfigure, and transmutate. They celebrate you and me in our entirety as their golden child and illumined entity. We are their precious prodigy. We were born to bring forth heaven on earth and birth a divine humanity. We manifest this mission by being a messenger of Our Lady's liquid light and her Lord's luminous love. Together they merge with the intention to purge our planet from the pandemic and the patriarchal power surge. They initiate an advanced evolutionary urge where the left and the right miraculously unite, and like an ancient owl's acolyte, they fight for our freedom from this global dark night. We delight at the sight of their power and their might as they ignite within our hearts a deep desire to embody compassion and to consciously converge so that the golden age of Gaia in her full glory can finally emerge. To embody compassion and to consciously converge so that the golden age of Gaia in her full glory can finally emerge, so that she can finally combined commitment created the portal through which this amazing event could actually occur, and now all of God's creatures are solidly safe and supremely secure. And upon one single and one simple truth, we collectively concur that it is because of him and because of her that we now know for sure that only love is real, our world will heal, and as was prophesied by a wise old owl, peace upon this planet will permanently prevail. Yes, it's true. It's really true. The peace that passeth all understanding will permeate our precious planet and permanently prevail. The lion will lie down with the lamb. It is our future. It is the divine plan. And so it is that now we know that we are one with the great golden owl's luminous light and the love that emanates from the source of our being, the supreme I am. Bring peace upon this planet, bring love to all, bring peace upon this planet, bring love to all. Lord, make us an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born unto eternal life. We really do need to die to our old way of being, so we can become the beautiful instrument of peace. I'd like to ask you what instrument you would be if you knew that the Creator was going to play you. Jane is a concert pianist. She plays the flute, the drums, the cymbals, the cello, the tuning fork. The tuning fork that is calibrated to the highest frequency of love. What would you play, dear Susan? The flute. The flute. How about you, Martha?
I was going to say the flute.
Well, you can say the flute. We're an orchestra. We're a divine orchestra playing the music of the spheres. But our most important instrument is our voice. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you into a very ancient chant. It's not called. It's Om Ma Owl. Om Ma Owl. Om Ma I feel so touched that every one of you in this audience has come today to allow me the privilege and the honor to share my story of my encounter with the snowy white owl. She truly has initiated me into her love and her light, and I hope that she is doing the same for you. It's been over 15 years now, and I've wondered, whatever happened to her? Did she travel to other places? Did she affect other people's lives the way she affected mine? I know she landed in Union Station on the top of a greased statue of Themis. You can take a look at this later. A couple of years ago, I somehow don't think that's the same owl, but I'm wondering if anybody here has heard from my owl, has gotten any messages from her. Maggie! Woo! Of course! Maggie would have the message! The snowy white owl! Thank you! Thank you! Let's see what she has to say. I think this was written. Did you write this? I think you did. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Wow. Wow. Quite the scroll. Woohoo! See the cosmic eye in the center? Wow. Flying through the firmament upon her gilded wings she glides, while on the owl's Odyssey she has journeyed far and wide. She has traveled here and there, beyond space and time. Really? There were many moments filled with frightening components from which she wished to hide. Instead, she chose to revel in the glory of the owl's wild ride. She chose, her happiness is firmly rooted. She lives from deep inside. Her home is love, and bliss is where she really does permanently reside. Her heart has held a treasure hidden within each precious feather, and like a light shining bright in the night sky, she releases one everywhere and every time she decides to silently fly. As it gently lands upon her most holy sacred ground, she prays that her special feather will sooner than later be found. For the owl's feather is the great portender of peace upon our planet Earth and the golden era's gracious gift of global rebirth. We thank her for restoring our inherent sense of worth. She has filled us with much laughter through the magic of her mirth. Into unknown realms she flew, to worlds she could not see. But luckily, her night vision carried her directly to the land of joy and ecstasy. Because of her fearlessness and her unbounded bravery, she is now fondly known and remembered as the one who loves, because she truly is and always was the owl's Odyssey. Wow. Thank you for that gift. Thank you. If you would hold on to this for me. So I'd like to take a moment to thank her especially for being with us today, and for each one of you who have been brave enough to embark upon the Owl's Odyssey. I'd like to close the directions and the elements now by honoring all the owls who live here at the beautiful bridge between the worlds. I'd like to thank the owls of the East. Each owl and all wisdom owls of the East, we thank you and we bid you adieu. I'd like to honor the owls of the South, barn owl and all to thank the great horned owl and all wisdom owls to the left. We thank you, and we bid you adieu. I'd especially like to thank the snowy white owl. Woohoo! And all wisdom owls of the north. We thank you, and we bid you adieu. Thank you to the elements of earth, of water, of air, and of fire. We thank you, and we bid you adieu. And thank you especially to the beloved Greek goddesses of antiquity. Sophia, you who are the mother of us all, and Athena, and the little owl. We thank you, and we bid you adieu. I'd like to give special thanks to Ms. Margaretta McElvain for everything that she does for everyone in every place and everywhere. By welcoming them to this beautiful bridge between the world and for offering us this collective space within which we can become an owl community as ones who love. I'd especially like to thank Maya, who is my right-winged woman. My right-winged woman. She and I have been hammering away at this for quite some time, and we hope that you really enjoy it. And I can't thank you enough, Maya, for your contribution. And by the way, this is only part one. You might remember that I said this is only part one. Part two will be on April 23rd of next year. It's the day after Earth Day. And it will showcase the great horned owl, which my friend in the back of the room gifted me with. And that's a whole other story. I won't give it away except to say it's an ancient owl known as the Great Horned One. And through her beauty, she will initiate us into her holy wisdom. So please don't miss that. And I'd also like to thank my muse, because without my muse, none of this would come into being. As a matter of fact, I have been engulfed with muse madness. And it was at May, and our show grew so large and so big, and then maybe somebody suggested, well, why don't you just cut it off and have it be 2 shows? I'm like, oh, the muse isn't done with me yet. But anyway, I have to thank her, because without her in my life, waking me up at 3 o'clock every morning, none of this would come into being. I also really want to thank Maya's husband, Jasper, who made the beautiful flyers. And I'd like to thank Rachel Mann for her, what I hope is going to be an incredible videography and photography, which, I might release on YouTube and you can access at some point. But I want to thank you very much, Rachel, for your presence today. And of course, Jane Clark has been my sounding board and my companion. I am her driver. Without her support, both emotionally and financially, I wouldn't have been able to pull this off. So I thank you, Jane, for being here today and entertaining me by your presence, because it has been a long haul with this show. So I'd like us, and of course I'd like to thank each and every one of you for showing up today, for really showing up in the fullness of who you are. And I hope when you leave here today that you feel a little bit more of who you really are. And I'd like us to invite everyone that you see and that you encounter to embrace the owl identity. Because we are all awesome beings on this planet. So let us all rise up now. Let us rise up Let us rise up and join wing to wing, heart to heart, so we can watch our spirits soar and hear our souls sing.
Join in.
And join in if you know the song.
Little simple words.
Okay, we're returning. Let's get a So we have returned to the origins of our being. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you who has come here tonight. And I usually ask for a donation, and this donation today can be placed into this incredible owl jar right here, because every single penny that is raised here today will be presented to Margaretta McIlvaine and the Bridge Between the Worlds. And I hope you will take some time to view the altars that I have so painstakingly prayed over